You're back inside the game here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Yes, the horn to lead us in. I love how all of the people that we interview on this show, they love the horn, including
Yeah,
Tyler
it's
yesterday.
a
I don't
sign of
we
that you made it.
didn't let him get a word out before we're blaring the air horn in his ears. But a tired Ryan Glinsky and Nate Wangler here today for this show. I know
Oh,
you
I'm
had
good
a
now.
10
I'm
p.m.
good.
game yesterday. He's good to go. All right, he got his caffeine, and he actually tried coffee for the first time today. He actually took his
Huh?
took his coffee virginity. No, you didn't have a coffee this morning?
I was
I'm trying to get
curious
you to
what
drink
you were
coffee,
talking
big
about
guy.
there. I
That's
was like,
all.
you know something about me that I don't know. No,
I'm
I
trying to get you to
don't
drink.
drink coffee. I still haven't. I have a cherry Pepsi still. That's about it.
I gotta ask Fabian if he's a coffee drinker. Because if he can get you to drink coffee, I'll eat White Castle, and we'll do it on the same video. How about that? Maybe when
Well,
I come over
Fabian
to the
is
east
in the
side on.
chat along with Dave. Dave says afternoon all, which by the way,
What's up?
I still don't think that's a handball yesterday, Dave. I don't know. That's a touchy subject. I don't know. The arm is a little weird to me personally. Fabian says, "What's up?" Vertical Gambit also in here as well. Morning, jumping in to hear thoughts on the men's NCAA change. That is going to be talked about.
Yeah.
I just don't know
Yep.
when, but it's definitely going to be talked
Yep.
about.
I love it. Well, we're going to talk a lot of USA development today, whether that be on the youth side, the soccer pyramid, and then obviously college, kind of switching things around to more emulate what the professional season is. So we'll talk about all that. But Ryan, let's talk a little bit briefly about what happened yesterday. We had some USL action. Obviously, the USLW, which started back on May the 9th. I had my first game yesterday, Midwest United getting a 2-1 win over a team that's in the neighborhood. You guys, Union FC Macomb in that one. Jocelyn Harriman, Kansas Jayhawk with a couple of goals. London Spencer, though, keep an eye on that name. 13 years old. By the way, the youngest ever player to score an assist in the USLW last year at 12. I don't know how you do that against players that are 6-7 years older than you, but London Spencer is doing that. She's one of the most promising prospects in the USLW. But a really interesting game yesterday. But, man, I mean, just look at that. Just puts it on a dime, avoids two defenders, and then puts it right on a dime for that assist. By the way, that was all in the stretch of, I think 3-4 minutes against Union FC Macomb yesterday. So, man, what a game. Crazy. Finished off that win. But how'd your game go down?
My game was pretty good. Dave says the controversy, or should I be putting out the tinfoil hat and saying it's a conspiracy? Hey, man, there's certain things, certain decisions go certain teams' ways. To be completely honest with you, yeah, this is my game. Can't really see. Hold on. We'll do this. We'll do this goal justice because it deserves justice. To be completely honest with you, this is Keita Gatto. Look at that. Bomb. Right in the top pins. That was absolute stunning goal. And then we have, let's see here. Okay, this is the Anast goal. Just dribbles through a whole bunch of people, puts it in the back of the net, and then this is the PK. I don't think Schrock's in the chat yet, but this is an actual Notre Dame player, Luke Burton, who gets tripped up, gets a PK. He then steps up, and whenever we get there, he does step up, takes the PK, and here's what you could see if it goes in or not. What's in it? We'll give you guys the suspense. We'll give you the suspense to know if it went in or not. But this was actually San Francisco's, this guy right here, Zach Giles. This guy had, I think, 10 chances in the second half. Just could not put the ball at the back of the net. Lucas Jones, the goalkeeper, was just unreal. Here's another run. He had probably 10 of these chances in the second half and just continued to not get it in the back of the net. He had a great game. Just could not beat Lucas Jones. Lucas Jones was, as in the wise words of an AFTV player, he could save the Titanic. Look at this. I mean, he just made save after save after save, time and time again. I mean, I don't know how many saves this guy truly made, but we're going to see another one most likely. But this one was kind of awkward. I thought it was going to go in the back of the net, but no, they had a ton of chances. San Juan, that being, they lose to San Francisco Glens, who San Francisco, their first game of the year, they get the job done. So NorCal division. Also, there was another game, if I can find it. Where did I put it? Yeah, right here. Academica SC taking on Davis Legacy out in the NorCal division as well. And that's how those games played out yesterday in USL2, USLW. Make sure to tune into the National Soccer Network this weekend for all the game of the weeks. It's gonna be a fun weekend. We got a ton of games. Another comment coming in from Vertical Gambit. Cool. Can't wait until next year when daughter gets 15 and can join our Pro 23 team. We do not have a USLW team here. Well, Vertical, hope you guys could get one. Eventually, the league continues to add teams all over the place. Yeah. So hopefully can get there at one point. There was actually, when I was doing PA all last year for Macomb Union, they actually had a 15-year-old that she played in every single game. I felt like at least every home game she played in as a 15-year-old. It was unreal.
I mean, I understand hitting your growth spurt early. Like, I felt like in middle school, I might have hit it a little bit earlier than everybody else. That's why I was kind of a head taller than some people. But to be physically developed enough at 12 years old and skilled enough to be able to hang in the USLW with college players who have been in the game for years and years. Some of them graduated for a few years. Again, is just beyond me. But yeah, all your USLW action here on the National Soccer Network. Also, again, to your point, massive expansion for the league, adding a lot of different teams. Talked about the Pittsburgh Riveters yesterday, obviously, USLW club. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds play in the USL Championship, so that's kind of an offshoot from them. But a lot of different teams joining the league, and a lot of talented teams too. So anyways, we will have your complete USL coverage. Again, the USLW Game of the Week coming up on Saturday. Neil Rule will be joining us here on NSN to talk about that tomorrow, as always. But Ryan, I guess the big topic here in hour number one is the pay-for-play debate. We'll get to that here momentarily. First, let's take a look at everything that went down in our MLS recap. We got a young player, a young American player showing out in the MLS, making some history.
We had 3 yesterday. We had Xavier Gazzo. He scored for Real Salt Lake. They got it done. Julian Hall, he gets the hat trick. He's now the youngest player in MLS history to have a hat trick. He had 11 goal contributions in his first 13. Cavan Sullivan also found the back of the net. And then Messi, obviously, he gets it done. He gets a hat trick as well. But I just wanted to touch on the youngsters, how well they have been playing. Pochettino, what did I say? Get one of these kids in the World Cup roster at the end. There's like 26 players you can take. They don't have to play, but you have got to bring one of these players. Julian Hall is getting scouted heavily by Poland. We do not want to lose Hall. He's a great talent. Again, he's 18. Everyone might be saying, well, it's too young. We don't want to, put a label on him yet. He has already scored 11 goal contributions in his first 13 at the age of 18. He is the youngest player to score a hat trick. He plays in, week out. He's going to get scouted to go to Europe at some point. He's going to be. I don't know when. Cavan Sullivan, he gets his first goal of the year. He's only going to get more playing time as the season continues to progress, especially with how much Philadelphia Union has been struggling this year. But you have got to call one of these players up. I think they deserve a chance. I mean, do we really think a Jack McGlynn is going to make us any better in the World Cup? No, he's not. We might as well just get a youngster in there. Jurgen Klinsmann did it with Julian Green. He did actually score a goal in the round of 16 game against Belgium. Did Julian Green's career turn out to where we thought it was going to be? No, not really. But at the same time, he made an impact immediately. Chris Wondolowski, he had a tap in. He missed it in that game. Julian Green didn't. So we have got to give some of these youngsters a run in the World Cup roster. I'm not saying they have to play every single game, but they have to be on the roster moving on. And there's a couple other score lines through this quick together, but you could catch the other ones. 8 goals in the Inter Miami Cincinnati game. You saw 7 goals in the Orlando Philadelphia game. Nashville, they continue to separate themselves ahead of the pack in the Eastern Conference as they beat second place New England Revolution. And you can see the rest of the scores there. Actually, Hugo Kuipers as well for Chicago Fire becomes the 5th MLS player, I believe, to score in 9 consecutive matches in the MLS. And then our good friend and the Vancouver Whitecaps, Sebastian Berhalter, also scored last night. But no, the biggest thing is the youngsters. Gazzo, Hall, Sullivan, all scoring goals yesterday. They continue to impress. And this is a great sign. We're talking about development. This is a great sign for it. because these players are playing. They're getting first-team minutes. They're playing week in, week out. Get them on the roster, at least one of them.
Yeah, I mean, Julian Hall is, destined for Europe, right? I think that's the natural progression and what's up next for Julian Hall in his career. But when it comes to any of these young guys, I can understand the sentiment that it might be a little too early to promote them or put them on the World Cup roster right now, simply because, again, I don't know if you want to bring anybody that you can't on any given day actually put in and have them play. If that's the reasoning for why they don't want to bring them, I get it. However,
There's 26
after
players.
the World Cup.
10 of them aren't going to play every single game.
I get it, but after the World Cup, once this tournament is over, regardless of what it looks like, again, we're all operating under the idea that Mauricio Pochettino will not be with the U.S. men's national team after this year. And I think that's a fair assessment. I think from everything we've seen, I think from the rumors and what he's been considering and wanting to get back to the professional level, at least in the Premier League or over in Europe, we have an understanding that he might not stick around. All I'm saying is whoever's in next needs to capitalize on this crop of players that I feel like we continue to talk about every single week in our MLS recap. It is the U20s, right? The Cavan Sullivans, the Julian Halls. That needs to be the next wave on this team. And even if you don't think they're necessarily fully ready for the international game, throwing them into deep water and having them swim is perfectly okay with me, because at least you did the one thing that we talk about is sometimes problematic with USA soccer, and you lock down a dual nat and who wants to come play for the U.S. men's national team. Like that is the focus, whatever that looks like. And getting Julian Hall to want to play for the USA, I'm cool with it, but I can understand where some of the logic is as to maybe it's a little too close. I could see just one of them, yeah, but I mean, if you're going to bring up one, may as well bring up all of them. So I can understand where some of that logic is coming from. But in terms of looking to the future, okay, we have our current crop of players. Fine. We've still yet to see what they can do in the World Cup. And I don't want to write off the 26 World Cup, right? I still think that Mauricio Pochettino and this team has a little bit more to offer and a little bit more to show us than what we're giving them credit. But you're right. You're 100% right. Julian Hall, Cavan Sullivan, all of these guys need to be the focus moving forward for USA Soccer. They have to be, because we have to lock these kids down. There's no way we can let them slip away, especially Julian Hall.
That in every big nation does this. Every single World Cup, they will bring in a youngster. They don't have to play, but you put them in the environment. And with the expanded roster, with the expanded field, there's no reason not to. And it's not like this better not turn into like, we're the U.S., it's soccer, we have the best players already. No, guys, we haven't earned that right to even say that. We don't have the arrogance. We don't even have the credibility as a soccer nation in the World Cup to not bring these kids. Look, every nation does it. Every nation does it. France and Spain, not saying these kids are going to be Lamine Yamal's and Kylian Mbappe's, but Spain started Lamine Yamal in the Euros as a 16-year-old. He's going to play as an 18-year-old. Mbappe, 18. He scored in a World Cup final. He started the whole thing. Pele back in the day, he was 16. He scored in the finals. So, again, not saying these players are going to turn into these type of players, but these bigger nations take risks on these youngsters being on the roster. Pele didn't start the World Cup whatever year it was that he won the first
at 17.
one. But they take risks. We don't have the credibility to sit here and say, we're not going to take them because we're the U.S. and we think what's right. No, you haven't earned that. Every big nation does it, and they lock down their dual nationals. Why do you think Ireland loses all their best players every single time? Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, because they're never in big tournaments to actually lock down these players for the rest of time. They lose them to England all the time. That is a reason why we lock down these players. If they fail, they fail. Every single generation has failed prospects. Every single year there's failed prospects time and time again. If they fail, who cares? But what if they turn out to be something massive? How big could they be for us?
Yep. And
Take
to the
the
point of
risk.
experience and seeing the scenes, I get it. No, he has to be the investment. He has to be the focus moving forward. Coming up next here on Inside the Game in hour number 1, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, our boss, joins us to talk about pay for play. It's been a while since Boss Man has been on the show, so we'll talk about that coming up on the other side here on Inside the Game. First, let's tell you about FC Bayern Summer Soccer Camps. They are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. Right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown, we're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
Welcome you back inside the game here on the National Soccer Network. And it is the three amigos now on the show. Used to be the show once upon a time was we welcome in Boss Man. John Turner, what's up, my man? Welcome back in.
Well, good morning, guys. How are you?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Doing good.
I understand you want to talk a little bit about pay for play.
Well, not so much about pay for play as it is that right now is the World Cup is just around the corner. The conversation about how this country, how we compare ourselves to other countries and how we develop talent and how we find that talent, all of that is kind of coming to a head right now. And we're seeing individuals, we're seeing clubs, we're seeing teams, we're seeing a lot of different people and groups talking about pay to play. We've heard it from Landon Donovan. We've heard it from Alex Lubianski. We've heard it from a lot of different players and former players and coaches. And what is the right way? What is the right way to go about this? And more importantly, what are we even talking about? Because I feel like there's some confusion in pay to play at the levels that are being talked about. And I think it's important that we discuss that. We saw a video again here yesterday from our friends at Detroit Metro, Alex Lubianski. He posted this video a few weeks ago, but it's confusing, and I think it's important that we talk about this and try to uncover what he's trying to talk about.
American soccer is built on a fake pyramid, fake youth system, fake senior system. Everyone sees it, nobody fixes it. So I brought a real European senior model here, and I explained the system so parents can actually see what's happening. I've got no skin in youth. My team has no age floor. Arrive hungry, leave for the pro game. Nobody pays to be here. We pay our best players via NIL. I'm not selling anything. No franchises, no territories, not just for billionaires, though better for them than the MLS. This model financially outperforms everything else in this country. I acquired and operated a professional club in Europe, generating revenue from sporting merit. That's an impossible task under the current American model. That's why I am stepping outside of it to reshape our broken model, European model on American soil. and we are giving the blueprint away for free. I built a law firm from scratch into a top M&A firm. I'm fixing it in real time. I don't need any approval. I've started 25 companies. Most of them failed. Some of them did not. Every one was worth it. I don't possess false modesty. I know I am unique, and I cannot be bought. I didn't start this to look cool, and my kids don't get a spot, no matter how good they get. You might hate it, doesn't matter. I'm building it anyway.
First off,
Said a lot.
very
Said a lot in that video.
very passionate. Yeah, he did. And I think it's important to state that we talk about this all the time internally. Just in Michigan, there are many opportunities to play post-college, right? Only right now, one currently that is professional. There is another one in Grand Rapids that's about to make its way in, right? And so there'll be two opportunities. We don't see any more opportunities professionally in this state to play soccer. And so you can only play pre-professional post-college. And ultimately, the different levels. I have a friend who's 44 years old, who plays still co-ed soccer in Nashville, Tennessee on Wednesday nights, right? Still having fun with that indoor, whatever, the fun aspect of soccer, what post-college, right? And then you've got
a little far past post-college.
Yes, but again, like there's understanding kind of like where you might want to fit into, the whole idea, okay? Because I think that there's different buckets you can be putting yourself into. One, there's a fun bucket, right? I mean, we've all played on a softball team maybe in the summer, co-ed or whatever. There's some fun ones, and then there's some really competitive ones. And so there are, in every city in this country, there's probably some kind of a rec program that offers an adult soccer league. You go, you can't slide tackle, and there's red cards for this, that, and the other. It's not designed to be competitive in the sense that you would in a USL or USLW environment, right? In Michigan, there's the Michigan Premier Soccer League, MPSL. That is like the governing body of the recreational, just above recreational, competitive soccer in Michigan for adults. I think it's governed by MSA, the Michigan Senior. I think Michigan Senior or Soccer Association, Michigan. Yeah, so it's governed by that, right? And so then you've got all these travel competitive, right? In Michigan Midwest Premier League, you've got USL League 2, USLW, UPSL on the men's side. And then you get onto actually now there's APSL, right? That's new. And then the women's side, you've got USLW, UWS, and one team in the WPSL, right? And so that's what you have. And so, but if you look at a player like, or a team like a Detroit Metro, you're going to have players on that team that probably play in all those leagues, right? If you're a good enough player, you're playing in USL2, you're playing in, and you know this, Nathan and Ryan, you guys call these names as much as I do during the summer. You see a guy like Jordi Lopez, right? He's been everywhere, right? You see other players that we could
UPSL DCFC team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how Flint City. We saw this Arpachinda, right? He played for Union FC Macomb in the USL2 season last year. He played for Flint City in the US Open Cup, right? And so there's players that go all over the place. They just want to play, and I think there's a lot of players that just want to play soccer at a competitive level, and there are players that are trying to climb and get to the next level. They're trying to actively do that, right? And there are certain clubs, certain teams that create an environment where that becomes more plausible, more possible than others. And Flint City is a prime example of that, right? They have created an environment where if you come to them, which again, that is the most senior team in the state of Michigan, would be Flint City. Yeah. There's not a single player that pays to be on that team. Okay. They are housed for free. Their entire summer costs are covered. Okay. There's not a lot of teams that operate that way. And so I love Alex's passion. I love what Alex is doing here. And I think Alex, great. And I think that what Detroit Metro is all about is great. With that being said, there are other teams that are currently doing this. Union FC Macomb, they are a youth club in the Nationals that have now created a pathway for both men and women to continue their pathway post-college, post-youth. And players aren't paying to be in that environment. And so I think it's important to say that there are a lot of clubs out there that do not charge to play in their adult, environment. And I think that's why I want to kind of separate this, because Landon Donovan's not talking about UPSL. Landon Donovan's talking about MLS Next. He's talking about ECNL. He's talking about players who are paying when they have been selected as one of the best players in their area and are playing on one of the best teams. And why are they paying for the best when they're going to go someplace and they're going to get scholarships? That's what he's talking about.
So maybe we should probably talk a little bit more about the youth game, because obviously the pre-professional, that's more of, I mean, it's kind of professional. So you're getting it's kind of like scholarships in a way. So should the pay-to-play focus be more solely on the youth game, the ECNLs, the whatever other RLs, L leagues out there, three-letter abbreviations, rather than the UPSLs and the USL2s and the USLWs?
I think from a pre-professional standpoint, I think first and foremost, probably 99% of those teams are losing money. They're losing money. To operate a team in the UPSL during the summer is going to cost between $20,000 and $25,000 for the summer, right? That's a lot of money. And so if you're not asking players to contribute to that, you're losing money, right? And so I think that's first and foremost. And so whether you decide to pay or not pay, or it's free or whatever, you can only survive in an environment where you're losing money for so long. And that's why the attrition rate in these leagues is like every 5 years, 100% of the teams that came in are gone. Right. So put that in perspective, and so they're gone. They disappear. If you look at the Detroit UPSL Midwest East Conference, the only team that's been there consistently over the years and been there for a long time is Detroit United. Everybody else is new or has been new, and they don't exist anymore. Or they've gone down to the MPSL. They don't play it. It's too expensive to operate the team. Okay. And so while I appreciate the idea of not being free, if you can't generate enough money and revenue from sponsorship, which is the single hardest thing teams have to do, you're not going to be around anymore. Okay. So that's important. On the player youth side, I think that there's an important part to this, right? It's parents. Parents are always going to want to put their child, in the best position possible to be successful. And that means travel, that means coaches, that means gear, that means whatever. And now not every parent can do that. But if you said, hey, mom or dad, or if money is no longer an issue, what would you take your kid to do the give them the best opportunities? Would you try to put them in that place all the time? And I don't think there's a parent on earth that would say no to that. Right. So the question becomes, do they have the money to do it? Right. The question becomes, do they have that? And so I think that's where we have to start. The clubs are not, as far as my perspective and what I understand, they're not governed by anything. They're self-governed. And so the club is going to go out and say, hey, we're going to charge $4,000. Well, this club charges $4,000. This club over here charges $2,200. This club over here charges $1,900. There's not like this thing in which, we've created an environment where everybody is paying the same thing for the same exact level. Right? Like if you came out tomorrow, ECNL, and said, hey, you know what? If you're an ECNL team at U17, it's capped at $4,000 a player. I think that would change the landscape completely.
100%.
Right? All right. So I think that if you just did something like that, that would solve a ton of the problems that we're having across this. Because right now, or hey, travel. Why are we traveling to Los Angeles, California twice a year when you live in Michigan? You're telling me we can't find soccer over here that would be equally competitive? But they do have the regional tournaments, but that trip costs $10,000 to send a family to, And so I think that there are things like that would definitely make the environment better. But the argument is, and when it comes to the MLS Next Academies and the ECNL, because that is the your top level youth environment in the country. And players like Landon Donovan were saying, well, if you're selected for that program, you shouldn't have to pay at all. Right? The problem, if you're not paying, is, and I was talking about this with Ryan earlier today, is that if you are paying into something, the chances of you being involved are greater than if you're not paying. Right? The best example of this is that I give you $10,000 and say, here you go, whatever you want with it. We are all going to run and do things differently with that $10,000. Some of us might blow it on one transaction, right? If you win the lottery, oftentimes people win the lottery are broke after a certain amount of time because they don't know how to spend the money because they didn't earn it, right? And so I think there's something to be said about spending money or investing money in your children. And so it's just from my perspective, it just has to be governed more. We have to have some kind of regulations that prevent there from being clubs charging $17,000 for a season when club over here is charging $4,000. Like what's the difference? I mean, in 1999, that might have made sense because there weren't a lot of great coaches out there. But today there are coaches everywhere that you could argue are very, very good at what they do. And why are we paying that? I think the other part of this too is that as a former coach who coached at the club level, I was given money based on the amount of players who played on my team. And so if I had 12 players, I made less money than if I had 17.
Really?
Right? Yes.
Wow,
and well, yeah, because they took the player fees. And again, I don't know if this is true still to this day, but that's how that would be. I would get at the club level, if I had 12 kids, multiply that by whatever their number was for the year, I would get a portion of that number to cover my what I got paid for the team. And so if I got paid $5,000 a team, well, I would get that based on a 15-player roster, not a 13-player roster. And so there are coaches out there that know that, clubs that know that, and that's why you have dual rosters. That's why you have 17 players on a roster sometimes, because you want to make a little bit more money. You want to, hey, this is my livelihood. I want to get paid. And so I think those things all play into this. But I think the biggest one to take away would be the governing aspect, regulations where, hey, if someone could come in and cap it and say, you can't go more than this as far as what your annual fees are, or, hey, you have to pay travel costs. Like that's all you're paying for is travel costs. I think that would eliminate some of what people are saying when it comes to pay to play. And that might do it. But then again, the MLS academies as well. The true MLS academies, Columbus Crew, you're not paying to be in that academy. If you are selected to go to Columbus Crew's academy, was it Columbus Crew 2 or Columbus Crew, their youth academy, and you're in the 15-year-olds, those 15-year-olds are not paying to be there. They are sent to Columbus. They are housed with, I know you call it. There's like a name for the housing that you stay with family.
Host family?
Yeah, host family. Stay with a host family. Thank you. A host family, and you're going to practice and you're doing all these things. You're not paying for that. It's not. No one's paying that.
No,
the clubs are paying for that. So, but you Michigan Wolves, who are an affiliate of Columbus Crew, you are paying the Wolves to be in their program.
He talked a lot about his experience in Europe in that video, and it's interesting when we look at the disparity, I think, between clubs, like you just mentioned, that sometimes is people's biggest issue. Not necessarily that you have to pay, but just the disparity between clubs and the amount of money it is. Are those systems in place in Europe? I mean, not that you would know everything about how they develop players in, like, let's say England, but what kind of measures do they have in place that we don't have here? What is it exactly that he's referring to, the game in England or the game in Europe, that isn't the same when it comes to the youth sports here in the U.S.? Because from what I saw, it was about $250 a month. But I don't know if that's necessarily all the way across the board. It could be different depending on where you go.
We've got to stop comparing ourselves to the European model. We are not Europeans. And so if we were, we would we wouldn't be talking about this right now, right? I'm sorry, but we are the largest. We're one of the largest countries in the world when it comes to land mass, right? With our people, and so there's a lot of things that are at stake here. But the most important one to take away from all of this is that in Europe, soccer is the number one sport. Period. End of discussion. Right? Like nothing even comes close. I mean, what are you going to go to on a Saturday in Europe if it's not a soccer game? You're probably going to a pub, right? So
Rugby.
What else are you going to do? Big. I mean. But I'm saying that in the United States, you have so many options. If you're an athlete who's 10 years old, and the chances are of what you're rooting for, I remember as a kid, even I played soccer. I was in my garage in the middle of the wintertime with a hockey stick watching the Red Wings play, and I'm shooting pucks into my net in my garage. Yes, back when it was Hockey Town, right? And I'm envisioning myself getting the game-winning slap shot from the blue line, to win the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
And hockey isn't even the number one sport in this country, but I was thinking about that then. And I would imagine a lot of young athletes are like, man, I want to be, throw the game-winning touchdown or catch the game-winning touchdown, in the Super Bowl, or go, hey, it's the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases are loaded, you're down by 3 runs, walk-off home run. I don't know how many kids in this country are going, man, I want to be the game-winning penalty kick taker in a 0-0 game in double overtime or, in extra time to win the World Cup. I don't think people are thinking that way at 10 years old in this country.
I did.
No. So I think that's comparing ourselves to the other, but again, in Europe, if you're a 10-year-old, you have a soccer ball, and you're thinking about hoisting the Premier League trophy, Man City, whatever city town you're in, right? That's what you're thinking of when you're that age. We don't think about that here.
Yeah.
And if you are, it's like the fifth thing you're thinking about. And hopefully 5 or 6 years from now, 10 years from now, that will change. But when it specifically comes to pay to play in this country, you pay for everything in this country. Everything. I mean, every week I get a new letter from my kid's school about something I got to pay for, a field trip, that, or, a T-shirt for this or whatever. We're paying for everything. I don't know what that's like over there in Europe, but if you're paying for everything, in Europe, you don't tip. There's like a tipping process. The servers are paid well enough that you go into the restaurant, there's no tip. I mean, here I tip everywhere now. I mean, to get a coffee, I got to get 20%, and then they're asking on top of that. It's like
I hate that I go to like a fast food place. They're like, tip? No, no, you don't get a tip.
Yeah,
I just think that they're again the clubs. This is probably going to be really controversial, but clubs are kind of like churches. It's like you go to church, right? And you're trying to get but what is it? Church is a business. I said this all the time when I was selling advertising. Yep. Church is business. Church is money. Church is absolutely. I go to church and I'm Christian and all that kind of good stuff, but it's a business. They want you to. Here's put money in the thing every week. It's about the money. They got to operate. Clubs, they have to operate. In order to operate, they have to have money. And how do they get the money? Well, they start off with you at little tykes when you're like little juniors and you want to play at 5 years old, kick a ball around now. And then, hey, now you're in the door. Oh, now you want to play travel soccer? Great. We got that option. And here's this. It's a business. And so if you don't like the business side of it, then you're going to have to, good luck. Because everything we deal with is business in this country. And if we look at other sports like basketball, AAU, I think players are paying. I think they're paying to play AAU. I don't think that's free. But to be fair, in high school basketball, high school football, high school baseball is actually where a lot of these players are in fact being recruited. Right? Because their baseball seasons, their travel baseball, their travel football, their travel basketball all come to an end during those time periods so they can excel in the high school environment. But a lot of recruiting happens as a result of those environments. I'm not saying you're not being recruited in AAU. You absolutely are. But again, those seasons stop. You go play basketball and then you go on back to your league after that. And so I think volleyball is the same thing, but you're paying to be in those environments. And so I think saying to not pay is not the responsible way to approach this. I think what the responsible way to approach this would be one, and I keep saying this too, that our biggest issue in this country is identifying talent. That is our biggest issue. It's not so much about finding talent, it's identifying talent and then finding and getting that talent to go to the next level, right? To push them through. Because what happens is clubs and coaches and parents and all the emotions involved with all this, people start to get their feelings hurt. And then they're like, I'm not going to recommend that kid. I'm not going to push this kid. I'm going to push that kid over there. Nepotism is a real thing. We're seeing it in the MLS. We're seeing it in the World Cup roster possibly. So I think all that is real. But I think that if we want to really change the environment in this country, I think you have to create caps, right? You can't no more than X. And then I think the other part of this is that once you've identified a player that you believe to be an excellent player, we as a soccer country, a soccer environment, we have to do everything we can to get that player to where they have to go in order to get the best. And if that means no cost, if that means clubs are helping divvy up money, whatever it might be. But that would be the responsible way to handle this.
I really hope now Drewski makes a sketch about youth soccer like he did mega churches. I think that'd be hilarious. That's just me though.
Yeah, everything. Well,
What's
and
that?
I'll just say I think the economy impacts everything too, regardless of sport or
Give me a
wherever we
Drewski
are.
sketch.
So I think a Drewski sketch would be funny. But John, we appreciate you stopping by and taking the time, and a lot of good points there, a lot of good stuff to chew on. So we appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys for letting me come on here. I mean, geez, Pete, it's been a minute. It's always fun to kind of come on and I used to do this every day with you guys. So I'm glad that you guys are rolling with all the great stuff. So appreciate you hopping on. I think it's important as my last point here. I think it's important to say that the system in itself is very broken. It's very broken. And to have these kind of conversations, I think will help us get to a point where, hopefully one day we can all say, hey, it's way better or much better for that matter. And I'm excited to continue to have those kind of conversations here in the future. So.
Absolutely. That's JT on Inside the Game.
Yeah, I will say, I think the best comment during all of that was Dave. Self-service checkout. Do you want to leave a tip? Dude, I see that all the time. I see it all the time about it. It's so annoying.
A tip for who?
What?
You know what I mean? Like who? Who am I leaving a tip?
Do I get money for checking myself out? Pause.
Yeah, but also, I feel like I should, if anything, if I'm going to give a tip, it's going to be cash in hand to the person that's helping me. No, I'm not putting it in the machine. Okay, that's stupid.
A couple comments here real quick before we get a break, because we do have to get a break. Vertical's been waiting. We will get to college soccer. Fabio wants to talk about Real Madrid. We'll get to both of those topics here, but I do want to get to a couple of these from Vertical. He mentions also from a club fees. Our club is a non-profit, but it's still $3,000. Fields paying coaches and league requirements like ATC at every match. They might say non-profit, but they're all for profit. Fabian, I pay $1,400 for year-round and $325 for uniforms. But I pay for league soccer, but rec soccer is free. That's rec soccer is not free here in America. But no, great talk. Pay to play, obviously a hot topic when it comes to the youth game and really just youth sports. I was gonna say youth soccer, but youth sports. It truly is, because you think about AAU. I mean, it's really just the same thing, but they get cool highlight videos instead of getting nothing. So that's really about it.
So I think there is a big difference, and we'll talk about this at some point. There's a difference between nonprofit and not for profit. There's a discrepancy between the two. Nonprofit's more of a public service, whereas not for profit is a little bit different than that. But anyways,
it's funny. John brought up the churches. I had to pay my family did. My family paid me $500 to go, probably a little more than $500 to go into a struggling community and spend a week there and serve the community. And you still had to pay for it. And it's like, are we helping out here? I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting how stuff works.
Nah,
but
I mean, I don't want to go to Walmart to praise the Lord on Sunday. I'm good. I'll find a little community in a country town somewhere that actually cares about the people. Yeah, it's become a business. Exactly. We don't have to get into all that, but it's as crooked as it can be. Take it from someone who grew up in that culture. But anyways, let's get this Barca read in. Let's move on in the conversation here. We got a ton of stuff to get to. Barca Academy is a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States, but designed for both boys and girls ages 6 to 18. Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model, same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca Camp, I sing my song Grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Inside the Game, 288 here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky continuing along in our hour number one conversation. We got a stacked show. We got comments coming in about all sorts of different things that they want us to talk about. So let's get into, I think, the most pressing story here today, and that is Florentino Perez. He hasn't just lost the plot, Ryan Glinsky. He has completely lost his mind. Let's get into this story, because he even had said so. He had some more to say yesterday, and it doesn't get any better. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, there's a good video that our good friend Fabian sent me on Instagram yesterday. It's a minute video that will sum up every single thing for the audience and ourselves here in English, and it comes from Carolyn Zwed. Sums it up, so just give a listen here, and then we'll give all of our takes and points.
The Florentino Perez crash out continues. Let me tell you guys, this guy wants all the smoke. Starting off strong when the interviewer asked Perez if he's worried about Barcelona saying that they're gonna sue him. To which he said, if Barcelona wants to sue me, go ahead, let them sue me, period. Goes on to say that obviously Barcelona has paid the refs, and next week we will present everything with documentations from all these years. Perez is not messing around. He went on to say it's easier to win the Champions League than La Liga. That's absurd. The Negreira case is the biggest scandal in football history. He doubled down. Then say Barcelona has been paying referees for 20 years, and in these last 10 years, it's the same refs. He went on to say that he's going to talk with UEFA about the future of football. Adios, Barcelona. He also went on to say that Mbappe is the best player Real Madrid has right now, period. And in regards to Vinny Jr., he said that the last 2 Champions League titles we won were thanks to him, and that's all he has to say, period. We then went back to Barcelona, where he said the relationship is totally broken, that he likes Lamine Yamal but would never sign him, and don't worry, Barcelona, you can keep him. Then maybe gave us some tea about Mourinho, saying that he didn't even see him or speak to him when Real Madrid played Benfica. And when the interviewer continued to press him about Mourinho, he said, my God, you are obsessed with Mourinho. Again, you guys can never make me hate Papa Perez. This guy's about to work overtime to bring Barcelona down.
Sounds like Ryan Day and the whole Ohio State-Michigan cheating scandal. That's what this whole thing sounds like. Dude.
Papa Perez. Give me a break. Anyways, go ahead, Ryan.
This just sounds like a wild goose chase. This sounds like Ryan Day and the Ohio State fan base going after Connor Stallions for stealing signs. That's what this whole thing sounds like. Dude, Real Madrid, I don't think you're innocent in any of this with paying refs. I've seen the way officials have been out. I guess the only one I can truly say was the Barca-Chelsea Champions League. I think it was semifinal. I forget what year it was, where Didier Drogba goes to the camera after the game and says, we're like robbed or whatever it was. It was, dude, it was such an insane. If you guys haven't seen that game or know anything about it, please look at the challenges that were thrown in that game. I mean, there were clear as day penalties for Chelsea, and it just was not awarded. I forget what game it was, but 2009 Champions League semifinal, second leg. A lot of controversy in that game. But look, Florentino Perez. First off, Vinny Jr. is I wouldn't want him on my team, to be completely honest with you. I can't say that I truly would want Vinny Jr. On my team, to be completely honest with you. Kevin Arnold in the chat, totally different. Kevin, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't want to talk about last night. Anyway, we'll get to that later on in the second hour as well. But Mbappe, Vinny Jr., both of those players hate each other. We talked about the fighting like it's okay yesterday. I think this dude just wants all the smoke at this point. He's 79. I think he just put in everything. He's pushed all of his chips into the middle. Suing a club about a referee decision, then every club in the world should probably sue Manchester City, if we're being completely honest, based on the 119 charges that are awarded to them. I just think, Perez, just chill out a little bit. Just take a step back. I get it. You did not have a good year. You didn't have a good year last year. 2 straight trophyless seasons. But please, my man, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. You've got to figure some things out internally. I get it. You lost the league to Barcelona for 2 straight years, too. I understand that as well. But you can't go on a wild goose chase. Maybe look internally and realize that you guys don't have anything going your way at the moment. All your players hate each other. They don't play as a team. You don't have a true adult in the room. You don't have a true leader in the room. Your manager is just a puppet at this point. But my man, stop just crashing out. Dave, paying off the rest for 20 years, yet Real Madrid have won 7 of the last 20 titles, 2 going to Atletico. Barca should be looking for their money back for 9 of those seasons. Barca, they got their own money issues, I think, personally. But, I mean, dude, I don't know. I've never seen this type of behavior from someone. I don't really know how to react. It just feels... Now that our good friend Kevin's in here, it just feels like Ryan Day in the Wild Goose Chase with the signs. It feels like he hired a private firm to go investigate this sign stealing scandal. Maybe just don't get dominated at the line of scrimmage. I digress. Sorry, I like you, Kevin. I'm sorry, my man.
Listen, paranoia manifests itself in so many ways, but something you'll learn as you continue to grow up, Ryan Glinsky, especially once you get to the doorstep of 30 like myself, you learn that innocent people don't respond this way. Innocent people don't respond this way. They don't crash out. They don't gaslight. They don't yell. They don't threaten.
Real quick.
Don't go after everybody else. What?
That's like Nick Saban crashing out after Shane Gillis on game day in the Notre Dame Indiana game was like, you totally did pay for players, and Nick Saban completely crashed out. You're right. That's a great point.
Yes.
Great point. Sorry.
Innocent people don't react this way. People who have nothing to hide don't freak out and go down rabbit holes, right? This is why, like, when you're dealing with someone, whether it be in business, a personal relationship, whatever it happens to be, and you bring something up and you're like calm and direct about it and you're trying to communicate, and the first choice of that person is not to, calmly talk to you about it, but it is to, bring up things about you or gaslight or yell or scream or any of those things. That is the sign of a guilty person. Innocent people don't react that way. So is there more to this than what we see?
Oh,
yes.
100%.
And I think at 79 years old, Florentino Perez hears the footsteps. And what I think is the train is off the tracks at this point, Ryan. All right. So everything is kind of up for grabs at this point, because is everybody in Madrid right now, in that front office, in that building, even the fans and the supporters, are they all in on these things that he's saying? No, I'm guessing not. But there is a attitude of fall in line and just follow me into this. At 79 years old, with the paranoia that he has, there is more to this story than what meets the eye. And here's the thing that bothered me about that video, and it really is the blind allegiance to someone who has completely lost their damn mind. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't care about you. he don't care about you or anybody else that's in that stadium supporting the team. He really doesn't. Matter of fact, he'll use you as a cop-out to support his actions because he doesn't want to take accountability for the way he's acting right now. As a matter of fact, he's actually gone as far as to throw fans under the bus and shame them for booing the team. How dare you go after the fans? How dare you go after the supporters? You would not be in the position you are right now if it wasn't for the people showing up and watching the games. As a matter of fact, I feel bad that those people had to spend any money to watch the piss poor product that you're putting on the field. And that you were able to put this roster together with Kylian Mbappe, by the way, and I said this, best player in the world right now, and you can't do anything with it.
You'd rather be on a yacht.
You'd rather be on a yacht than showing up and putting his best foot forward for your squad. This isn't about one individual fight in the dressing room. This isn't about one little battle between two players. This is a complete and utter circus in Madrid. And you want us to, hold your club to a high standard? You want to take a victory lap about how you're the greatest president ever? Go put on some flowy pajamas, relax, Okay, go to a resort somewhere. Spain is a beautiful place. You have so many different places. You can go out on a boat, go to the beach, go do something. Get out of the sport. Okay, you have enough money. But to go after the fans is cornball material. And now the paranoia that, again, the voices keep talking. You don't want to listen to anybody else around you. Now you're going to go after Barcelona and claim that they're paying refs. No, how about you look inside? You look in a mirror and realize we created this situation that we're in right now. How dare you go after the fans? Also, going after journalists is never a good idea. That's just a side note for me. Okay, to those in the line of fire, the journalists who are covering this story, dig your heels in. All right, this is your time to shine. Expose what this club is doing. Okay, we need you. A free society needs you. Where rats like this actually have to face the music that they don't want to face because they're paranoid and they have money and power and think all they need to do, right? Much like Ohio State, all we need to do is just point the finger and then no one will question what we're doing. I will take morality lessons from Yale, Harvard, Hobart College. I will take morality lessons from anybody else before Ohio State tells me one thing about morality. One thing. Give it up. Okay, you're Ohio State. If you want me to break out receipts, I can break out receipts. And we can go there. We can go there if you want. I have family who played in that series. I have family who's been on that field. I have family who's been in Columbus before the game. I have family who's been in those rooms. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. I'm good. I got receipts. We're good to go on this show. Same thing with Madrid. If you're a journalist covering this, dig your heels in. This is ridiculous. It's the paranoia speaking. That's all it is, Ryan. Sorry, I got a little fired up there. But
yeah, I did.
That bothers me.
I also would not take morality lessons from Michigan just based on what's happened the last couple of years. I digress.
Oh, me neither. No, I'm not. I'm not saying we're innocent. No, absolutely not. I'm not saying we're innocent. Heck no. Heck no. But
no, you're right.
Anyways,
it's almost like what was it? Jeremy Fears when he kicked Elliot Cadeau in the nuts, and like it was a foul on Elliot Cadeau, but Fears immediately goes like this, and it's like, dude, you know what you did. And you got fouled. Why are you putting your arms up like this? Like you didn't do anything. And you're completely right on the whole like footsteps. Again, I don't think he's hearing voices or anything like that. But this is also from Real Madrid as well. Fabian sent me this on Instagram. Enrique Riquelme, who's supposedly going to run against Florentino Perez for the presidency at Real Madrid. He wrote like a whole essay. I ain't going to get under that at all. It's like a whole essay, 6-page essay about morality and stuff. I don't know what it really is. A couple of comments coming in. Riquelme has a $75 billion corporation, and he is the one that people are pushing to run for presidency, and he has some crazy amount, like 5 to 20 billion in liquid assets. Does he want to be a sponsor of the show? I mean, I could
just
take
give us a
money.
Sliver of that. We'll be
just
all right.
a little bit. I mean, maybe like a couple $1,000. I mean, that'd be kind of nice. But I like to shake it up with players and possibly the presidents. At least we can, Kevin Arnold. At least we can agree where we don't want to take morality lessons from. Yeah, I wouldn't take morality lessons from Michigan or Ohio State, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, we'll agree. We'll agree on that. I'll give you that one.
But if we're looking at what's going on with Real Madrid, I just think it's a whole mess. And I think Perez is upset with the last couple of years. Barcelona has beat them on the field to win the title back-to-back years. I don't know if it was exactly for the title last year, but that win against Real Madrid basically solidified Barcelona winning the title. I know this year was mathematically impossible after they won. Not 100% confirmed on last year. But I just think he's so fed up with what has happened recently. It's almost like when a club is used to winning for so long and then they don't win for just a little bit, it like eats at them. It's horrible. Like I'm ready for the day Man City starts sucking and they will have no idea what to do with themselves, which by the way, during your whole like passionate rant, I went on Twitter to find another Real Madrid thing, but instead I saw a fan who got into the Etihad somehow and took a video, or maybe it was a worker, I don't really know, took a video of something going on the field, and it looks like Pep Guardiola was doing a video with all the trophies, which means one thing. I think he's leaving. Anyway, I digress because that's a nice conspiracy. Maybe we could talk about a little bit more tomorrow. Also saw a field storm yesterday, or during that little break when I was scrolling through Twitter. I also saw a field storm yesterday in one of the lower divisions in England, where the fans stormed the field and the opposing goalkeeper is just standing there, and a fan just goes parallel and 2 foots him in the back. Oh my God, dude, it was insane. Insane watch. But anyway, back to the Real Madrid thing. I think that this man is losing it. I think Real Madrid solely needs a change of scenery. I think they need a change of leadership. I think they need a change in everything. That's what I think it is. I think it's that, Fabian. Real Madrid are like the Yankees ? I mean, I would say no, because Real Madrid has actually won things recently. I mean, obviously, I know the Yankees have not done it, but in those 17 years without a World Series, I think I've seen Real Madrid. I know they have the three-peat in there. I've seen them win at least like 5 Champions
The Yankees
Leagues.
actually had to deal. The Yankees actually had to deal with someone actually cheating against them. That's the Houston Astros and everything that went on there. I mean, I know that obviously, they were vindicated, whatever. But no, they actually had to deal with that. So I guess in a way, but the Yankees also didn't I don't know, the owner, George Steinbrenner didn't, lose his mind and start, threatening everybody and saying,
Real Madrid,
maybe, but
Real Madrid has won things. I've seen them win at least at a minimum 5 Champions Leagues in my time. I've seen at least minimum 5 Champions League. I've seen La Ligas time and time again for them as well. But it just feels like that this guy is just losing everything. And I don't think Real Madrid is innocent at all. To be honest with you, this Real Madrid-Barcelona discussion is kind of like Michigan-Ohio State. We're guilty as well on one side, but we're going to blame the other side because you guys have done some other stuff. And then the other side's going to deflect that and be like, well, look at what you've done. And it's just argument because it's two guilty sides that don't want to admit that they've done something guilty. But they're like, you're also guilty at the same time, so it's your fault, and we're going to expose everything else. And it's like, no, we're not. We had the high ground.
And then here comes Michigan. Here comes Michigan
You're
State
guilty.
out of left field. Here comes Michigan State out of left field, including themselves in the conversation.
Then Atletico Madrid comes in like
go!
Michigan State.
Go! Get out of here, all right? Go play hockey or something.
And Atletico's like, we're going to defend Barcelona. That's Ohio State in this situation because we don't like Real Madrid or Michigan. That's what this whole we can sum this all up in college football. We can sum this up in all of college football.
I'll give Kevin some love here, man. At least I respect Ohio State because I know they win. MSU wants to insert themselves. It's like, nah, man, just go, okay? Do your old Pat Fitzgerald dizzy bat race for the spring game in front of 5 people, okay? Do your thing. Leave us alone. Leave the big dogs to yell at each other, the ones who matter in the grand scheme of things.
I just think trying to sue a club for you thinking they're paying referees, knowing damn well I think you guys have done some shady stuff as well. You're telling me Real Madrid is innocent in all of this. No, Real Madrid is not innocent in all of this. I mean, look at the amounts of money they have spent on players. They've broken the transfer fee record how many times? I mean, they've even poached players from Barcelona. Figo, the dude was loved in that region. And he comes in and he plays his first game against Barcelona, and every time he goes to the sideline, they have to have the guard up with shield so he doesn't get hit with anything that might hurt him. Which, by the way, Kevin, MSU equals losers. Yes, sir. MSU does equal losers. They're MSU's a fan base that would probably much rather see Ohio State succeed in football and anything else other than themselves. Yes. It is weird behavior, man. I do not understand what it's like with these Michigan State fans. They're like, well, if we lose to Ohio State, that's fine because Ohio State, we want them to. How many times do I got to scroll on Twitter and see the amount of love Michigan State fans give Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, Ryan Day? They're not your coaches. They're not your coaches. They're not your fan base. And for a team and a fan base that cares so much about the whole, did you go there? You didn't go to Ohio State. Why do you care so much about Ohio State? I don't care. But
Yeah, when you're it's like Valenti the other day on his radio show talking about the infatuation of Michigan fans with the school they never went to. Mike, you got a journalism degree from Michigan State. what kind of a GPA do you need to get a journalism degree from Michigan State? Like, come on. So, anyways, not that I want to go after Valenti.
We are repping our schools. Go Knowles.
I don't know how those people. I don't know how
I'm not gonna lie.
Y'all don't get sick of that, man. It gets stuck in my head.
I'm not gonna lie. I find that chant to be like very annoying if I was like in the building as the opposing fan. But like, hey, I don't have anything against Florida State. So, hey, I like Jameis Winston. I think he's a clown. I think he's really funny. And he's going to be doing World Cup coverage this summer. How does that happen?
Because he's Jameis Winston. You can just plug and place him wherever you want to, I guess.
Last couple of questions before we move on to the college soccer discussion. Fabian, are MSU fans like a bunch of gimps? Yes. They would much rather see Ohio State succeed than themselves. Dave, can you write your name on the top of the paper? Yes. That's what they do. They just write they write their name at the top of the paper, probably claim all of OSU's national championships. It's weird, man. It's really
Dave's
weird.
got some good ones.
It's the same thing as United fans with Man City. It's like after Pep Guardiola just bashed all of Manchester United, they're like, dude, we would rather see Man City win the league. You guys realize that they dominate your city for the last 10, 15 years. Yeah. But hey, we want to see Man City win. Oh my God, bro.
Kevin, the Michigan State logic is you didn't play for the Cleveland Cavaliers, so therefore you can't be a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Nope.
That's how that
you can't.
works. So
you can't.
And
when a Michigan player, because a Michigan player is represented on 3 of the 4 Detroit teams, Hutchinson with the Lions, Levert, Duncan Robinson, Larkin, Cobb with the Red Wings. It's we don't want them to do good. It's your pro sports team. Who cares where they went to school? It's not my fault you don't produce professional talent.
Yep. It is. It transcends generations, the insecurity and the inferiority complex with that fan base.
You should have seen the crash outs when J.J. McCarthy beat the Lions this year. Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, like, the infatuation is wild. Let's tell people about Man City soccer camps. We'll get to the college soccer conversation on the other side. Man City soccer camps, though, are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. These camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at usacamps.mancity.com. EA Sports, you're in the game. I think of that every time I say inside the game. That's the first thing I think of is like the player intros. You're in the game.
NSN. You're inside the game.
You already know what time it is. EA Sports. It's in the game. or something like that. Like, I loved the old football EA Sports intros. They were the greatest. They were the greatest. I miss that so much. I saw a video yesterday about the Madden 07 soundtrack rather. It's
Goated.
just some of those songs just stick with you forever. The greatest, man. The greatest. I forget who the
there's a sense of like I stop everything what I'm doing when I'm like I hear a FIFA song play like while I'm shopping or it's on the radio or I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I love FIFA music. You could make
it is.
I think I just dropped my phone.
I mean,
you could make you could make a whole playlist based off of that.
I forget what his name was. They had a rapper on there that's you literally would only know if he was from Cleveland. But like those old EA games just introduced you to the most random people random artists ever, and it was great. It was different. But anyways, let's get into the college soccer conversation a little bit here, Ryan. This was breaking news yesterday. Getting a full year for college soccer, completely changing around the schedule to more mirror what the professional schedule is. And I think it's good on many fronts, but wanted to get your opinion here first.
Yeah, so let's just lay down the things that are, let's just lay down the rules, not the rules, but the changes to everything. This only applies to the men's game. This does not apply to the women's game. The quote or an article from ESPN says that there hasn't even been any movement on the schedule change at all. So for the foreseeable future, the women's game will not change. It will stay the remainder. For the men's side, this goes into effect the 2027-2028 school year. So this year, again, it'll be the same as normal. But here are just a couple of things that are going to happen. Teams will be allowed to play 18 matches from late August until the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and up to 10 matches from mid-February until the start of the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the NCAA tournament will now start in the spring. It doesn't give the exact time, but I imagine probably April, May. That's when it is going to start. They will most likely be playing one game a week instead of the 2 games a week. Again, doesn't matter how many games you play, but that is kind of just the rules and kind of the changes that will happen. A nice quote from Jamie Clark, who has been on the network before, University of Washington national champion head coach. This is a new era for college soccer. Hopefully through the new calendar, we can build some positive momentum and create more excitement for our sport. And I think a couple things to just mention on this. No, I don't think this is going to be like all of a sudden, oh, Dave, NHL 04 soundtrack was one of the best. I didn't play NHL 04.
Yeah.
Did you play NHL 04?
I played those early NHL games. Yeah, it's very, very good. Very, very, very good.
This guy Fabian just hating. He goes, honestly, hope to God Arsenal loses 5-0 to PSG. Yeah, that's not happening. That's just not happening. But my initial thoughts of this, no, this does not all of a sudden create USA Soccer is going to win the World Cup in 2030, let alone be a contender. No, that doesn't do that at all. What this does now is I think it will start to raise our floor a little bit. This isn't going to turn these college soccer players into the next era of Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. That's not going to happen at all. But these players that go into college, it automatically just hurts their development, automatically hurts their growth. Why? Because you are playing from August to, if you are very good, you get to play in November, late into October. You're playing roughly around 3 months. You're roughly playing what the high school schedule is like. And that is August to, if you're very good, late October. And then vertical, that's a great point as well. No, but it matches what the MLS is going to do also. This is starting to match what the European model kind of is, at least with the schedule, is you're playing the same way. Look, when you're a college athlete, a college soccer player, after those first 3 months, you're almost like a true college student like myself. You just get to play. You just get to do a little bit more scrimmages in the spring months. You probably get to go out a little bit more and enjoy yourself like I did many weekends. But anyway, nowadays, college teams probably play a couple scrimmages, maybe 3-4 scrimmages in the spring, but that's not true. That's not a true pressure environment. You're just kind of going out there, get some fitness in, get your touches in. There's no true pressure in these games at all. But then you go to the fall season, you're hurting the players, I think, in terms of health as well, because you're playing twice a week. You're playing Wednesday and then Saturday. Now these players are going to get fully rested. They're going to get fully prepared. Yeah, you could probably mix in a couple of midweek games in there. That's why we love midweek action. But the MAC schedule, when I was doing all these games, were Thursday and Sunday. That hurts a little bit in between. You only get 48 hours of rest truly to get yourselves ready for the Sunday game. Now you might play maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe you'll play a Saturday, Sunday, but this is going to help that. But now you get these players playing almost year-round. They're playing in high-pressure situations almost year-round. Again, you're going to get that break in between from Thanksgiving to about mid-February because of the weather. Obviously, in Midwest, you're not going to be playing soccer games outdoors in January. That's just stupid. You might as well just not even play the game of soccer during those months, to be honest with you. And then you also have the finals in there, the Christmas break, whatever. So it keeps kind of that Bundesliga schedule a little bit because they also have that January break, the 2-3 week break, which I think every league should ultimately implement, kind of like an all-star break, but a little bit longer. But there are no all-star games. But I like this move. It's a move in the right direction for U.S. soccer. I think that since 2018, I think USA Soccer has started to wake up a little bit and realize that our way is not the best way. And college soccer going to, at least on the men's side, the college soccer going to this full-ish semester-to-semester calendar is a move in the right direction. Again, it's not going to make us World Cup contenders or anything like that, but it's a move in the right direction. And I absolutely like it. I really like it because USL2, why is these leagues so popular, USL2, USLW, is because the college players need somewhere to play. They don't get a full length of season to play. So, hey, this is very good for all these players, and I think it's a move that I really, really like.
Well, so now I got to wonder what happens to the USL. I mean, does it get younger? Do all of a sudden, you have less college players playing?
But you're still going to get the players.
Right. You're still going to get players. You're still going to get talented players, but more of a younger, I guess, tone to the USL if college is playing all year long. But yeah, to your point, this doesn't make us the World Cup favorites here in a month just because we made this decision, right? But it is an important one in terms of creating a more pro-ready system through college soccer. The reason why college soccer isn't really much of a focus is because of just how odd it was in terms of scheduling, how much of a dead sprint it is. They're not playing for very long. It's really hard to identify and scout and do all of those things when that's how it's laid out. That's why the majority of it is done in the USL and the USL Championship and in the MLS and these other places. So I didn't realize at first, but as we kind of we talked more about college soccer, even with the coaches we've had on this show, we've gotten an understanding as to just how their hands are tied behind their back. I mean, you mentioned the workload during the regular season. Let's not even talk about that. Let's start before that. When we go back to the preseason, you have a 10-day preseason. 10 days. How is that enough to actually put anything together to be able to go out and compete? It is, and in the dead of the August heat too. I mean, they are leading into these games a lot, and a lot of them we ask them hey, how are preparations going? You're leading up for game one, and
I don't know.
Some of them are they're here. They're going to be out there. We'll see how it goes. That has the vibe of a preseason game or a scrimmage, when you're all right, well, we're gonna test out our strengths against this other team. That should not be a regular season thing where you're going into game one. We've only had 10 days to get ready for this season. And now we got to go out and compete, and probably for these smaller schools, go out and compete against someone who's far better than they are. So it extends that out, which is great. The workload is far less, to your point. And again, talking about player safety and health and all those things, I think that matters. I mean, only playing one game a week is really important. More closely mirrors the pro game, which makes it easier for professional clubs. And I think this is important. Makes it easier for professional clubs to be able to scout and look at these players genuinely that are playing in the college game. The reason why I've ever talked down on college had nothing to do with the players that were in it. It had everything to do with the way it was structured in the U.S. And so that's why this decision is so, so important. The other thing that I wanted to add in, though, too, is that I think it is important, and we talked about this before, it's not really competing with the likes of college football in the fall anymore. I'm not saying that college soccer is now going to become this massively popular thing amongst more fans are going to, or it's going to even compete with college football. Competing is not the thing. It doesn't have to overlap with college football, though, because when you do that, what's the one thing we pay attention to in the fall? It's not baseball, right? This is the reason why I think baseball being as long as it is problematic, because once you get to September, people check out. People want to watch football now. They want to watch college football. They want to watch pro football, right? This is when you get into the fall, American football is the focus. And so if you're able to stretch this college soccer season out, you are no longer, again, directly competing with that of college football. And here's the important part, right? If you only have one match a week, you promote the hell out of that. Like, you can really, really kind of build something there. Not saying it's going to change everything, but that's an important component of this. And it was one of the first things we mentioned when this first came about. And so really, and I don't think there's a negative to this move, to move it to a full year. I really don't. Now, in terms of the women's game, listen, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Like,
hey, there's a reason.
there doesn't really seem to be anything broken when it comes to the women's side of the game. So there really isn't a need to fix that. However, the men's game, it was certainly 100% needed. And if anything, Ryan, I think maybe this will get more players to want to play in college soccer. And that matters. I want to see that happen. I want to see the school pride. I want to see a Michigan State matchup in a really fun one at the same time. Like, it's almost kind of a sad state of affairs that we don't really care much about men's college soccer in this country when it comes to pro scouting and development and other things. Not to say that players don't come from college, but I think it might inspire some more kids to be like, yeah, I'll go play for North Carolina or Duke or wherever.
Because college soccer is not the ultimate pathway into professional soccer.
No.
Obviously, there's players that
not.
have done this. But if you look at the environments of an academy system and a college soccer environment, it's two totally different, because you go to play college, you also get the college experience, you get the distractions, you get the going out all the time. You don't get to just focus on the game. Whereas at academy, you're just kind of eat, sleep, soccer. That's really about it. That's really all you get to do. I mean, sure, you probably have, some nights out and stuff, but for the most part, college soccer, I mean, everyone knows, like, I've gone out to bars and I see the CMU women's soccer team just hanging out. I see the CMU football team just hanging out. And I do want to get to these couple of points. Dave says, how many of the college players play football? He means soccer at the start of the school year, then change to another sport for the remainder of the season. That doesn't really happen in college. It's difficult to play multiple college sports. To be honest,
that's more of a high school thing.
Yeah,
it's more of a high school thing.
That's more of a high school thing.
Yeah.
But Vertical Gambit mentions, because I was kind of curious, about the female side. Why aren't they going to this system? He goes, I think they should do this with the women's side for all the reasons you just said, but most of the women coaches I have heard talked about it do not want this. Females, and I go, why is that? Females do college more for education and fields that need labs and internships. Think of nursing. They use spring to do those types of things. Listen to the Inside the College Soccer that has 3 Division I coaches for the women game. They talk about it often. All right, looks like we're going to have to get some women Division I soccer coaches on the show here. Maybe we'll have to get some men's coaches on the show here in the next upcoming weeks. Vertical, that's a good point, too. Maybe they run track in the spring. But, again, track's not a super time-consuming thing. You're really just running your 1 or 2 events that are, you're just running.
I'd be interested to say, there's a lot of guys go to college for an education. If someone's an engineer and they're also playing soccer, I'm guessing that's an extreme amount of time. And also you got to consider exams and all those other things. I don't think it has to do with women more go to college for the education versus men. I think that's a pretty weird line to draw. But anyways, it's certainly something that we can talk about.
You kind of look at basketball and football and baseball, the way that those, and
some of those,
hockey
yes,
as well. That
you're right.
Those are college soccer in America for the men's side. This is specifically for the men's side. Doesn't necessarily get you into the pro game. It doesn't, because you could be a first-round draft pick in the MLS Super Draft or whatever it is. Doesn't ever mean you're going to sniff the field, because MLS teams have gone closer to the academies, and rightfully so. They should. I think academy systems are definitely the way to go, because you go to the academy to be a professional soccer player. You might go to college soccer to get a little bit of a college experience. Yeah, you get to play at a high Division I level. You get to say that there's still good competition at Division I level. I'm not knocking it at all. But there is a difference from the men's side, from academies to the college game. There are two completely different things on the men's side. Women's side, it's different. Like you mentioned, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The women's side doesn't need fixing. It doesn't need retooling. The men's side and the other side needs 100% retooling.
Yeah.
And I just think this is a right direction for USA Soccer. Not saying we're going to win a World Cup or contend for one, but I'm just saying this is a move in the right direction for our development. I think this ultimately is just going to raise our soccer nation's floor, rather, for USA Soccer. And I think it's a move that we desperately needed. It's a little long overdue, to be completely honest with you. But, hey, we finally got there, and it's only going to help that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that is exactly the point. All this kind of plays in together, right? We talked about the pay to play a little bit earlier. Now we're talking about college soccer. It all has to do with, again, the men's side of the game. How do we just raise our floor as a soccer playing country? You got some more comments to work in before we take a break?
Yeah, Fabian, is academy better than college for the MLS? I would say so. I would say so. I mean, we just showed 3 examples here today: Xavier Gazzo, Cavan Sullivan, and Julian Hall. That doesn't even mention all the other prospects that have been playing for the New York Red Bulls. Those are all academy graduates. They got into the first team through the academies at the age of 18, Cavan Sullivan being 16. They all got through the academy. None of them played college soccer. I mean, Pulisic didn't play college. McKennie, Adams. I mean, really no one on the U.S. men's national team first team outside of Matt Turner, I think, has played. Maybe Matt Freese played college soccer. Richards didn't. I don't think Tim Ream played college soccer, but for the most part, all the U.S. men's national team first team players did not play college soccer. That used to be something like Jordan Morris, Stanford. That used to be something that was mentioned all the time in the broadcast. Vertical Gambit. I know how that sounds, but I'm telling you, listen to the podcast. Also listen to Discover College Soccer, where they interview college coaches. They talk about it. It is a different mentality. All right, I'll have to take your word for it. I will definitely have to tune in.
I mean,
I definitely think that I definitely think we might have to get some college coaches on the show next week. We'll have to maybe go to our maybe the people that we normally go to. Maybe we'll have to get Lewis Robinson, Western Michigan. That's a good one to get the women's perspective of things. We'll definitely have to get Lewis Robinson back on the podcast. Maybe we can even get him tomorrow if we're not going to get all the USL2 coaches in. But we will definitely be getting some college coaches for sure. Definitely some on the men's side. Definitely some on the women's side that we need to get on the show.
He was at the West Michigan Whitecaps a few weeks ago.
I remember that text message.
I got a text from him. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. So it's funny to see him jumping around. But no, we'll definitely get that conversation in. But like I said, I don't. It's rare that a decision like this is made, and we're not like, let's weigh the positives and the negatives. No, it's all positive in my mind. I don't really think there's a bad takeaway from this. So good on the NCAA, good on college soccer to make that move, and we'll see how it pans out for them. But let's take a break here on the National Soccer Network. When we come back, talk about the Pistons. And Kevin, you can take your victory lap when we come back. We'll talk about that. Are you looking? Oh, yeah. Oh, pretty much.
That's it. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll also talk briefly about, at least we're not Minnesota, right? It could be worse.
Minnesota!
What's up? Minnesota! They were up 3-0 yesterday against the Avs. Avs come back to win the series, so Minnesota gets bounced out of the playoffs.
Hey, have a good day, Vertical. He says, gotta bounce. Have a great day. You too. Have a great day, Vertical. Appreciate you hopping in the chat. And
yes,
like always.
Also get question of the day into the mix as well. That's all coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Inside the Game, hour number 2 continues along here on the National Soccer Network. Sorry, I started started laughing at a post during the commercial break. New Blazers owner Tom Dundon, I don't even know how you pronounce that, is reportedly, quote, ruthless and will not hesitate to move the franchise to Nashville, Austin, or Kalamazoo if Portland politicians continue to threaten the relocation threat. Is this Kalamazoo, Michigan that he's talking about? Like, we got to talk about this story coming up tomorrow. Ain't no way Kalamazoo, Michigan is a potential spot for NBA relocation. If we get an NBA team in the zoo before Seattle gets one, I think Seattle might revolt against the Union. I think they might be like, this is it. We're done. The second picture in that, we got to show that maybe coming up tomorrow on the show.
There's 5 places named Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo, Michigan, Kalamazoo, Florida, Nebraska, and West Virginia. So yeah, no, I don't really know where all those ones are. But a couple comments. Fabian, how are the Pistons doing? Horrible. Kevin, I ain't taking no victory lap yet. And respect you guys too much to take a victory lap if the opportunity comes about. Hey, we appreciate it, Kevin. But hey, so no victory laps at all. Hey, man, I think you guys have secured the series. They needed to win last night.
Oh, they lost it. Yeah, they lost it yesterday. Yeah, they lost it yesterday, in my opinion.
And I was so grateful that my game was during the second half of that Pistons game, because if I was watching that game, and again, I rewatched it, but that was dreadful. I looked at my phone just like in the first half, and I go, oh my God, we're going to win. We're up by 9 with 2.5 to go. Yeah, no, you're not going to score any field goals late down the stretch. Do I think that there was a foul on Jared Allen, on Asar Thompson? 100%. But you cannot allow... How many times have we had this discussion as Detroit fans? You cannot put the game in the officials' hands. We've seen it too many times with the Lions. We've seen it too many times with the Pistons. You are up by 9 with 2.5 to go. There's no way you should lose that basketball game unless your name is Juwan Howard coaching a basketball team. That's the only way that happens. But you cannot allow the game to go into the officials' hands. You have a firm grasp on the game. All you have to do is play normal basketball, play smart, don't turn the basketball over, don't foul, don't let anything silly happen. And you allowed all that to happen. How can you have 0 field goals late in the game? How can you allow that to happen if you're the Pistons? This team is flawed, it's fraudulent, and when you don't have a true number 2 that can create their own shot that's not named Tobias Harris, because I don't think he's a true number 2, you're going to have issues. And if I have to see Jalen Duren play basketball for my team one more time, I'm going to crash out as much as Florentino Perez has been doing recently. We can't allow this to happen. If you're the Pistons, you have let an opportunity to go to the Eastern Conference Finals slip. And we already know that you were in the Knicks' heads from the beginning of the season. This is the best opportunity you will probably have in a long time to make an NBA Finals. Again, I don't think we will win the NBA Finals this year. I think the Thunder or the Spurs are going to do that. Said that since the beginning. But I'm just saying, a trip to an NBA Finals. The Pacers took the Thunder to 7. Maybe you could do it. But that was dreadful last night. You let it slip through their fingers. And a team that hasn't gotten past the second round since what, LeBron? Since LeBron? Come on, that's got to be better, guys. That's got to be way better.
I sympathize with the people of Detroit when it comes to bad referees. I mean, I think of the no call on the obvious pass interference against the Cowboys in the playoffs.
You mean they called it and then pulled it back?
Yeah, that one. I think about the completing the process for Calvin Johnson. Not that would have made much of a difference. That team sucked anyways, but you get the point. I think of Josh Hart in the Knicks series last year, hanging up over top of, was it Hardaway who was trying to hit a three at the end of the game?
Yeah, it was in the corner, yeah.
There are literally video compilations out there on YouTube. You can go look it up.
Search up lines, get screwed.
See all the different moments. Yeah, all the different moments where the referees decided to
JT being short
decisions. Yes, that completely changed the trajectory of a sport, right? But make no mistake, I'm going to double down on what Ryan's saying right here. Last night had nothing to do with this thing that Detroit is infatuated with and obsessed with, and it is so much a bubble that it kind of bothers me sometimes because it restricts what this city is, and it makes us look insecure. And that's the whole Detroit versus everybody. Yesterday was not Detroit versus everybody. I know that the refereeing has been terrible in the NBA. Paul Reed said it perfectly after the game yesterday, which, by the way, if anybody deserves a payday, I think it's Paul Reed over Jalen Duren, to be honest with you. But Paul Reed said in that post-game interview, he goes, it doesn't all come down to one call. Yeah, they missed the call. They miss calls all the time. Like, this isn't a new thing. It doesn't come down to just that one play. Should Asar Thompson be shooting free throws? Yeah. Do I think that's a call in the first half? Yes. Do I think it's obviously disappointing? Absolutely. Do I think the NBA is crooked? Yes. I think we will learn more and more as this goes. And don't act like it hasn't happened before. It has, and it's happened in my lifetime, right? Look up the NBA ref betting scandal. There's a whole documentary on Netflix about it. I'm focusing on one man today, because we asked the question of who's most responsible back when they were down 3-1 to the Magic, right? And they came back one in Game 7. We asked the question who's most responsible for the lackluster performances. And then they went up 2-0 against the Cavs, and we went, okay, everything's ironed out. And then they've lost 3 straight, including that one yesterday. And now the question pops up again, which I think is the important question that we all need to ask ourselves as Pistons fans: who's to blame? Like, who carries the majority of the weight of the blame for the downfall yesterday? If you have a 9-point lead inside of 2:45, I understand who's on the other side of the floor, right? You have Donovan Mitchell. You also have James Harden, who is still James Harden.
Not like you're playing 2018 Warriors.
You're not. But you have a 9-point lead inside of 2:45 as the number 1 seed at home. That's coaching. If you can't finish that out, that's coaching. If you can't operate in a half-court set and not turn the ball over, that's coaching. Everything about what last night came down to JB Bickerstaff. And I find it hilariously ironic that he talks about playing at a high level in the post-game press conference. You were nothing more inside of those final 3 minutes than a glorified babysitter. And one, by the way, that was not very good. One that let the kids run around and paint on the walls and spray ketchup on the couch. I mean, that's what that looked like last night. That was JB Bickerstaff in a nutshell. You did everything you could in the most important game that you've played all year to be up 9 inside of 3 against the referees, against the grain, against what a lot of us have seen is a large disparity over the last 2 games when it comes to calls and free throws and all those things between the Cavs and the Pistons. Despite all of that, you had a 9-point lead. You had a 3-possession lead going into the last 2:45. And because of laziness, because of lack of an ability to slow the pace down, you end up losing that game. And make no mistake, you can say Pistons in 7 all you want. Ladies and gentlemen, this series is over. You choked away a 9-point lead inside of 3 minutes at home with a chance to force a decisive Game 6 on the road in Cleveland, and you don't win it. And now you want to go to arguably the hardest place to play in this NBA playoffs, bar none, Cleveland, Ohio, to try and keep your hopes alive. With cement feet Jalen Duren, turnover party Cade Cunningham and JB Bickerstaff, who again was just arms crossed, just watching this calamity as it happened in front of him. They're not a bad team, but they are flawed, and they're not NBA championship worthy. And that's what makes it hard to watch these games. Yeah, I mean, I missed a majority of the first half. I tuned in for a little bit of the second half. I mean, the most of it, just to see what was going on. Obviously, I was tracking it as it was happening. But everything about yesterday I don't think it's even remotely controversial to be like, yeah, hey, this series is over. It's done. And so there's a lot of thinking that has to be done. And I know they still have a chance. And hey, I appreciate Kevin for not taking the victory lap. I don't speak too soon. I would have too. No, this is all on JB. And yes,
I think it's a mix of both. It's a mix of both. It's a mix of both, because you said it yourself that if you're an NBA head coach, you're just going to let the guys late in the game, you're just going to let them go ball, and I'm going to watch. And JB did that. I think it's a mix of both, because why is Jalen Duren on the floor late in games when Paul Reed and Beef Stew have shown time and time again that when they're in the game, good things happen. Good things happen when those two are in the game. So I think it's partially. But the amount of shot clock violations offensively, look, this team is flawed. Especially offensively. You cannot play Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren on the floor at the same times. But at the end of the day, the players got to go out and execute. They got to go out and play. And I think it's a mix of both. You can't put all the blame on JB Bickerstaff, because what's JB going to do? He doesn't have three-point shooters, and his one three-point shooter is out. He's hurt. He wasn't playing yesterday's game. Kevin Huerter? No, the reason Kevin Huerter was traded so they could get Jaden Ivey's cap hold money off the books. That's what it is. But the amount of shot clock violations that they had, that's not all on coaching. We don't have a smart basketball team. We have a very dumb basketball team. How many times I got to see Danish Jenkins drive the basketball around, just dribble, patty cake dribble, let's pass it around the three-point line, hoist up a shot? How many times I got to see Danish Jenkins do that? He's stupid. How many times I got to see Jalen Duren not try, get too deep on a rebound? How many times I got to see that? Tobias Harris and Cade are the only ones who can semi-create shots, but when you don't have consistent three-point shooting, everything gets clogged. It's on both. The players have got to realize that you're a 1 seed. We can't get consistent shots up late in games. We're going to force all these shot clock violations. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. It's on both. The players and the coaches have got to be ashamed of themselves. And I swear to God, if you are Trajan Langdon, you're telling me that you will not look at this team this offseason and realize where the flaws are. You've got to get rid of Duncan. You've got to get rid of Karis LeVert, because I'm not getting $14 million. Sign and trade Jalen Duren, because there's probably a Charlotte Hornets franchise out there, or the Washington Wizards. They're like, yeah, we'll take a big man for $40 million a year. Yeah, we'll take that. Danish Jenkins is a dummy, but I guess if he's making $3 million a year, it doesn't really matter if he can come off the bench. Asar Thompson, dude, how many times am I going to see you wide open at the three-point line and James Harden sitting in the free throw line and he's not doing anything? You have got to develop a jump shot just a little bit, man. But no, I think the fault of this game is on both the players and the coaches, because the players are going to be the ones to go out and execute. And the turnovers, the shot clock violations, not getting off good shots, it's on you guys as well.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Cade said it in the post-game interview. He's like, if we can't go on the road and win a game in the playoffs, we're not going to win an NBA championship, right? Like, that needs to be something that they're able to do. And so, can they? I mean, they I don't know.
But
the
full blame can't be on JB Bickerstaff.
I think a lot of it is. I think a lot of it is. I understand what you're saying with how this team is flawed. They're a 1 seed for a reason, man. Like, they won all those games for a reason. Did JB
Bickerstaff, did he make all these trades? Did he make all these draft decisions?
No.
Most of these players are not his guys.
And I'm not, listen,
they're not of the old regime with Troy Weaver and Monty Williams and everyone.
Yeah. No, you're right. No,
He's been there for 2 years.
He's dealing with what he has access to. Right. So I can't, you're right. He's not in charge of putting those guys in those places, but he is the one that's in charge. If you are up by 9 with 2:45 to go, you put yourself in that spot. And I have always, I've always bought into the idea, players win games, coaches lose them. especially in close, tight situations, late in games, just like that, lost it. They just have not. They have not shown that. So it is. Yeah, it's disappointing. Again, and we could talk about the referees all we want, but to be honest, I mean, at some point it becomes kind of a moot point. It really does. It really, really does. Because it would be different if the Pistons were down by like 10-15 going into last 2:45, or if they were down by 9 and they ended up losing that game. Then, yeah, maybe we can have a separate conversation. But no, I think, I think the way this roster is constructed, the fact that we don't have nearly as many playmakers is a big problem. But they just choked it away. Plain and simple, they choked it away.
And I think most of the blame falls on the players. I really do. Because there is a lack of, I think, a true alpha dog mentality on this team. We can say Cade Cunningham MVP alpha dog, but I don't think he's a guy that everyone is like, dude, we just got to look up to him and he's just going to create everything. There's too much standing around on offense. Jalen Duren, you want $40 million? You just stand there. Paul Reed out rebounds you, man. And he shouldn't even, and he's like a borderline NBA player. Most of the blame should be on the players, because are we going to seriously sit up here and let's say coaching wise, we're really going to say Phil Jackson is the greatest coach of all time? No, he was given 2 of the top 3 best players of all time, and Kobe and MJ. Do you think Phil Jackson was drawing up plays for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant? No, they're probably like, dude, just give me the ball. Just give me the ball. We'll take care of it. We don't have that true alpha dog in this team, and we also don't have depth. We don't have true playmaking depth on this team. Tell me Danish Jenkins, who just dribbles around and just hoists up a shot because he's a dummy? No, we don't have that. Duncan Robinson can't create anything. Tobias Harris and Cade are the only players that can create anything. No, this team lacks depth. They lack the playmaking, as you mentioned. They lack the consistent three-point shooting, but both are at fault here. The players, the coaches, and for being honest, Trajan Langdon as well. All those people should be at fault for what happened yesterday.
Phil Jackson has 11 championship rings.
6 with MJ, 5 with Kobe. But you're telling me Phil Jackson was the big difference in all of that?
I mean,
he's got 13 if you count as 2 as on the Knicks as a player. I get that. But are you telling me Phil Jackson is like the greatest coach of all time?
So I guess we should just throw Greg Popovich out of the question. I mean, unless you're going to say that Red Auerbach
you're the one
is
that mentioned on this show that coaching in the NBA truly isn't the biggest factor. So
the coaching itself, no, is not. Not now.
Phil Jackson.
Not now. Not now. It's not. No, they're glorified
because your team
lost.
Like
I just said,
because your team lost. All of a sudden, coaching is the biggest thing.
No, look at the way the game is played, Ryan. It's pace. It's space. It's YMCA ball.
So if coaching doesn't matter, then why are you putting all the blame on JB Bickerstaff? Want to know?
Because when you're inside of 2:45 with a 9-point lead, that's where you have to step up as a head coach.
Maybe the players aren't good. Maybe that's the reason. The players are not that good.
That's it. That's why they took a 2-0 lead against Cleveland. Like I don't really understand.
Because Cleveland turned the ball over 30 times. That's why. That's why they won game 1 and 2.
Okay, well,
but you said a week ago that coaching.
Enough.
If I'm an NBA head coach late in the game, I'm just letting them play. And clearly, JB just let them all play. And now all of a sudden, that's all on JB Bickerstaff?
There's a time to buckle in and be a coach. There's a time when you are 9-point lead with 2:45 to go. They were 1 win away from forcing a decisive game to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. You're going to tell me that this team just isn't talented? Or we just don't have any talent on this team? It must be. No.
All the fault is not on JB Bickerstaff.
Coach.
It's on Langdon and also the players.
A lot of it is. I didn't say all of it. I said a lot of it is.
You mainly said, yes, you did at the beginning. You did
that. I said I'm focusing on JB Bickerstaff, which that really should be where the focus is. Again, in my personal opinion. But no, I mean you can't say Pop is not.
I didn't even say Greg Popovich. I didn't even say Greg. You brought up Greg Popovich. I'm just saying coaches are not the sole. I forgot JB Bickerstaff was out there playing basketball. I forgot Phil Jackson was out there playing basketball. Popovich, I'm sure he was out there in their 5 championships. I am saying all the blame cannot be solely on JB Bickerstaff and what you are saying. This team is flawed, and if I'm out here trying to vouch for Cade, MVP, maybe we should just take the game over, Cade, like you did in game 1 and game 2.
No,
but you didn't do that in game 3, 4, or 5. Maybe don't turn the ball over off an inbound, Cade. I forgot
You need your
JB
stars to be
Bickerstaff
your
did
stars. You need your stars to be your stars. Absolutely. There's no debate
that. So all
there.
the blame
And,
should not be on JB.
No, not every single
But you
little
said
bit
that.
of it. But my focus today was on JB Bickerstaff. I thought yesterday, yes, in large part, that was on his shoulders. That was on his shoulders inside of.
I forgot.
Yes,
I forgot
absolutely.
JB was playing yesterday. Maybe offensively, let's look at the shot clock. Maybe
then why
let's
do
pay
they have a
attention and look
coach,
at the shot
Ryan?
clock, guys.
Why don't we just
let's
roll,
stop
roll
forcing all
10
the shot
guys
clock
out there
violations.
and not even have a coach on the sidelines? What's the point of having a coach then? What's the point?
You said NBA. You said late in
What's
games.
the point?
You said late in NBA games. You're just gonna allow your players the ball. I'm just gonna sit there and watch.
I don't. You're gonna have to pull up the specific moment
was a week
that
ago.
I said this, but I didn't say they have no hand in all of this.
But this team,
of course,
maybe,
they have. An
I forgot.
impact.
Hey, when you get a rebound, maybe let's look at the shot clock. Maybe let's look a little bit. Let's not just pass the ball around and just let a shot
You're
clock
right.
violation run out. I forgot
You're
JB
right.
was out there doing that.
Obviously, the players didn't execute. Like you're correct. I'm not taking
And
anything
the blame
away
is
from
not
Cade or
fully on
anybody else.
JB.
A lot
I
of
think
it is.
mainly it's the players. Mainly
a
it's
lot
the players.
of the blame can be put on his shoulders. Absolutely, it can. But I just don't. I think we focus on players, obviously, because they're the ones playing in front of us. Like we don't hear those conversations in the timeouts. We don't hear what's said. So it's easy to just get away from. Well, take the blame.
I
off
just don't know
JB's
what you want
shoulders.
JB to do. His best 3-point shooter is not out there for floor spacing. He's got Cade, he's got Asar and Duren. They both struggle. And to the other point of Beef Stew and Paul Reed, they can't rebound over Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley consistently. The only person you could maybe put in there, Duren, that's the only reason. Is he's out there is he can't rebound because Paul Reed cannot rebound over Evan Mobley. Mobley continues to cook him.
Yeah, Duren's dead weight. And I did mention that, and I did mention Cade, and I did mention all of that. But no, I was just saying a lot of that I felt like last night falls on JB. But anyways, let's get to question of the day.
Question of the day brought to you by Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. Scan that QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. But question of the day, what is the most heartbreaking Detroit sports loss?
Oof. That's a good question. Man, do you already have one loaded
title
up for
game.
yourself? Yeah, I would probably agree. I don't really think there's a substitute for that game. I mean, you controlled it all the way into halftime. I mean, we're talking about victory laps here today. People were taking victory laps at halftime of that game because it seemed like we were going to run away with it. And then obviously at the end, it just, I mean, I have never seen a bigger calamity than what that was. And also in the moment where it could least afford to happen for the least deserving of all the organizations that have had to go through everything. No, that was terrible, man. I mean, and to watch because that night I wanted to watch that one with my family. When it comes to the Lions, I got to watch it with my family, right? Because it runs the passion runs deeper than any other sport. And I'm watching my grandparents, and they come over for the family party, and they're both wearing these shirts, like "One Before I Die," and I'm like, oh man. Oh, if they lose this game, this is going to be freaking heart-shattering. And not only did they lose it, but they lost it in that way. So I'm like, Gramps, sorry about your little wish there. Not that I'm wishing any ill will over here, but I don't know if this organization is going to actually do that, but before, we don't have to go there. But anyways, that's what made it heartbreaking. That's terrible. I hated that. It has to be the worst.
There's one other comparable one. We'll get to these comments. Pistons will lose to the Knicks. Knicks will lose to OKC. Again, I still think the West wins it. The loss of Barry Sanders, well, I wasn't around there, so I couldn't really tell you about that. Kevin, I don't take victory laps because I have had many heartbreaks in Cleveland. You're an Ohio State fan. You've had a handful of heartbreaks. Anyway, my college one would be JT Barrett, but there's one other comparable one to the NFC title game, and it is Game 2 of the ALCS 2013, where the day the Detroit Tigers died, where you're up by 4 runs in the 8th inning, I think. The 8th?
Yeah.
I think it's the 8th.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it is the bottom of the 8th, 2 outs, bases loaded, first pitch, Joaquin Benoit, first pitch, and Ortiz nukes it, and then you just see Torrey Hunter just leap up, misses it, and he flips into the bullpen. You even got the cops cheering, jumping around. that are the two. That one is comparable to the NFC title game because it's, the ALCS. Haven't gotten back to the World Series. And, it's the day the Detroit Tigers died.
And this is where I kind of again, I understand the generational differences between Ryan and myself because I was old enough. I am old enough to remember the Appalachian State game for Michigan. I actually watched that whole game at my cottage. And Michigan fans just went into hiding after that one. And that was in a year going in where the expectation was that Michigan was going to go compete for a national championship. I mean, you had Chad Henne, you had Mike Hart, you had who was the tackle? Jake Long, who had a long career in the National Football League.
Brandon Graham on that team? He may have been on the team, maybe a freshman, maybe 2 years.
I think so. Yeah, he was young, but I think he was on that team. But anyways, stacked to the gills. I mean, they should have competed for a title. You lose to App State, and then you go out the following week and you get just destroyed by Oregon. And before you knew it, it was over. And obviously, this is during a day and age where you could not lose barely one game and be in a championship situation, let alone two. So, I mean, yeah, that was probably the worst 2-game stretch of all time. And Kevin will know this, but they were actively celebrating Michigan's loss against App State at the shoe when it happened.
Oh, yeah, MSU did a moment of silence.
Yeah, we turn around and lose to Ohio State at the end of the year. Lloyd Carr at the end of his career just kind of fell off a little bit, and then you got to go through Rich Rod, and then you got to go through Brady Hoke. It was just like...
Then Harbaugh, then took that one a minute to get going.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you had Sharon. Hopefully Kyle Whittingham could be kind of good. Fabian wanted me to tell you F the Red Sox.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
But no,
I talked about it yesterday. I don't like
JT
Boston
hit
team.
me. That one hit me deep. JT being short, and then Samuel cuts it back. Ohio State wins. And the worst part is before JT even goes short, is they had Curtis Samuel in the backfield for like a 5-yard loss, and they couldn't bring him down. And then we get JT Barrett being short, and then Samuel cuts it back. Then we had to wait another 5 years before we could finally beat Ohio State. So
brutal, absolutely brutal.
Hey, 13-10 was pretty funny though.
That was pretty funny.
That's like the funniest game I've ever watched.
I think
because that's like the worst football game I have ever seen in my life. It's run, punt, run, punt, turnover, touchdown.
I think that is the greatest upset win I've ever seen, and I'll never forget because I was doing a college basketball game that day, and one of the teams, Defiance University from Defiance, Ohio, they got all their OSU gear on, at the stadium, whatever. And so once they lose, all of a sudden the red starts disappearing. They start taking their hats and all their stuff off and whatnot. I kid you not. I blared the fight song in my car, and I took 3 laps around the parking lot as they were coming out to go back to their cars. And then I followed the team bus on the way out of the stadium playing the fight song.
I remember,
had no cares. I'm like, you clowns.
I remember.
Have fun with that.
The Davis Warren pick. And it was it was one of Sharon Moore's greatest calls of all time. And he threw it, and Jack Sawyer, who I hate so damn much, picked it off. And it goes to the 5-minute commercial because Fox just has 5-minute commercials. And my mom is trying to talk to me, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know. I don't know. And she's like, and I go, Mom, I'm sorry, but Davis Warren just threw a pick at the goal line. And now Ohio State's going to march down and win this game. And then all of a sudden we got Khalil Mullins rumbling down the field. We got Ryan Day calling consecutive timeouts. We got Davis Warren going like this. And it was like, what is happening? We might win this thing. And then I was fully prepared for the kick to be blocked on Zavada. I was fully prepared for it. Like I'm sitting there going, it's just going to get blocked. It's just the way this season has gone. It's the way this game has gone. It's going to get blocked. And then I remember the entire way, if this is how Walmart Wolverine I am, I remember the next day I had to drive back to school, and I listened to, I think, at least an hour of the Michigan fight song. I'm just blaring it. And then I was playing like Mr. Brightside. I was playing Pump. Like I was on cloud 9. I didn't know what to do with myself. And the worst part is we weren't even going to go to the playoff and win anything sustainable. That was the worst part.
Yep. And I think the thing is like, was it a little petty of me to do that? Yeah, but listen, if you want to give it out, you better be willing to take it. And that fan base, you're going to get it if I get the opportunity to give it to you.
Whoever the douchebag was at the Bruno Mars concert chanting 27-9, F the Wolverines, we own you, that's just a weird place to do that at. That is a weird...
Bruno Mars! No one cares.
No one in their right mind is thinking Michigan, Ohio State.
Ever.
They are just happy what they just witnessed. Everyone's talking like, oh my God, that was so sweet. And it was. And then we got this douchebag who is thinking about Michigan wearing the Ohio State t-shirt. Walking around, I go, dude, you look like a complete tool, man. No one cares about this right now. They are just happy they witnessed. And Michigan fans are still probably talking about the basketball national championship than the football. Like, football is like, it's just like, after what happened this past offseason, it's like, okay, let's figure it out when we get close. And having to see Bryce Underwood step out on the football field one more time, oh my God, I'm going to lose it. That's almost like, I don't know what is worse to watch. Jalen Duren or Bryce Underwood running offense. I don't worry. Kevin, don't worry.
Tough.
When we win, the fight song and Hang On Sloppy plays a lot. Okay, so it's fine then. It's fine then.
Hang on, Sloopy. Gotta love it. We heard the "we don't give a damn" for the whole state of Michigan from the Chicago people at Keyworth, but obviously that was Chicago, not Ohio.
Hey, Kevin.
But we still got a few for you.
There you go, for the Cleveland Browns.
That'll
Perfect
wrap up
timing.
288.
Perfect timing.
Let's
As
go.
the show ends.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow here on Inside the Game.
We'll be right back.